Iron sharpening iron, hit a spark when we speak. Stronger together, yeah, we building each week. Each one reach one, now the whole world know. Big Jack, story time, walk, talks, let's go.
All right, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And I got my man with me, my co-host. I don't even like to say co-host because he knows.
Oh,
but
man,
Walt
hey.
Talks in the house. What's up, Walt? What's up, man?
Hey, man, I'm officially well, what exactly do you need to talk to him for, guy? How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing well,
I'm your bodyguard, man. Your little guy is your bodyguard. How about that, man? What's going on, bro? How you doing, sir?
It's all good. It's all good. Look, always happy to be here. You know, anytime we can kick off another show, another month. It's hard to believe we're in the month of May.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes. So I said I was going to try something different this month. I said for May, every show we're going to try to start with the month name is, well, it starts with an M. So this is going to be something with an M.
Okay.
So I'm really thinking my mental, my psyche.
Okay, I was about to say, where we going with this? Okay.
Yeah, so, no, this is not Sesame Street. And
I'm just trying to figure it out, man.
The letter M.
Yeah.
Okay, so but the letter M, and it's going to be more on the mental side of it. So I think really, you know, we know that your mental health is just as important as sometimes your physical health. And I say they all together. So I'm not trying to try to separate the two.
I'd say more important. I'd say more important, man. Yeah. I'd say more important, man, because your brain is I mean, garbage in, garbage out, right? It controls the rest of the that's the program, man. So yeah, I would say more important. I mean, I'm sure some people argue me on that, and I have no official training in brain management. You put that out there. But definitely your mental, what you think, you are what you think. I believe that 100%. Yeah.
Well, and that's important. So today we have a guest with us that's going to help us not so much reprogram ourselves, but it's going to help us with our thinking. It's going to open up our mind sight as far as how we see things. A lot of times we see it with those blinders on. We've got that tunnel vision. So it's good to have somebody that might be able to take us and show us how to improve that. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I want to definitely get this our guest up on the stage so we can take this journey down. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but no, it started with an M. So we're gonna say memory lane or whatever.
I got it. So what's gonna happen today? He's gonna help us and our guest get out of that myopic mindset. There's your M's right there. Yeah, there's your M's right there.
Look.
You know what I mean, man? See what I mean? 6th grade spelling champ, man. I've been trying to tell you for years, man. The 6th grade spelling champ.
Man, that myopic.
You're trying to get away from that myopic mindset, you know, that one-track mind. We're trying to broaden our horizons, test the depths of our imaginations, and see what we can come up with.
Well, let's get him on the stage then. You ready?
All right. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you all for coming out and hanging out with us at the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Oh, there he is, Scott Rust. What's up, sir? How you doing?
It is good to be here, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I am glad to see you. Yes, the mental mechanic here to help with that myopic mindset.
There we go.
Scrabble.
Hey, man, Scrabble. There it is. And you just took it to the next level, got another 10 points.
It is. So, Scott, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. This is Walt Talks. This is we're live right now on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, Twitch. We'll definitely make copies of this and put it on Instagram and TikTok and all the other social media platforms out there. But and it's a show where we we know we are proving that we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And I'm so grateful to have you on the show with us today. So to kick this off, we're going to ask you to please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good catch on that try, Big Jack. Well done. That is part of the mindset thing. It's about how we use our language and how our own understanding of reality is shaped by our perception. Perception is reality. That's part of it. It's all tied up together. So I'm Scott Rust, and I brand myself around these parts as the mental mechanic. Why? If life is a highway, then that means that you have to have a vehicle. Our mind is the car. And if we know that we go service a car regularly, then why don't we also do the same kind of checking in on our mindset, on our thinking, on all of the ideas that come in and get caught in the filters or clog up the engine or cause so much gunk to build up that we get out of alignment? It's wild. And people don't really always care which tool I use when they come to me. They just care, can I get back on the road? That's the important part. So I am an NLP practitioner. I am a certified hypnotherapist. I am a success and life coach. I know how to do EFT. There's so many different ways to help people. But really, it all comes back to talking and storytelling. So I love a good podcast. It's a great place for me to be.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. And look, you threw a lot of letters at me, so I'm gonna have you break all these letters down. But one thing that what you said is, and I want to touch on that, because it was almost like taboo to a point if someone said that something was wrong with my mind. So like you say, my car going to get it fixed and I need to service, my engine light came on and all. But if something was wrong with your mind and you went to go get it fixed, they were putting you away. They wasn't trying to help you and get you out. So that right there, I believe, was the biggest fear for a lot of people. And we're still stuck in that, whereas you don't want to tell anybody that you got something going on, or I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things, I'm feeling this certain way in my mind, because it's not understood, and sometimes it could be your downfall. So help me with that. Am I wrong? Am I missing something on that one?
No, you're 100% right. Stigma and bias is one of the biggest things that holds people back from getting the kind of help that they really need. And the other part of it is just the assumptions that people make. Hollywood has done a very bad job of representing my field. I said CHT. I am a certified hypnotherapist. Everything in Hollywood, if I could get everyone who ever watched anything that has any of it in a room and explain, okay, that works for the story, but the same way that you don't believe that laser swords are real, the person swinging a watch in front of their face doesn't make a nun into an assassin in an hour and a half. That's for the movie. That's not real life. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah, so that is confusing right there, because a lot of times you think I'm gonna stand on this stage and all of a sudden you're gonna have me walking like a chicken or barking like a dog or whatever. So that right there too is where we get that false, idea of what you're doing, and that is not real. And we talked about that before in Walton, and it's no different to me as we're saying it like anesthesia. You're going to sleep, but you're sitting there, I'm gonna fight this. I'm not gonna let you put me to sleep. I'm not gonna let you, so I'm not willing to put myself in a position to let you hypnotize me in any way, or even change my mind or change my thought. Part of that is because of the fact that you're thinking, what is this person going to do to me if he got control of my mind? If I can't control what's going on top of my shoulders, you can have me doing anything. Yeah, here I am signing my house away, giving away this or that. So I'm not giving you that permission. So I'm sure your job is tough because of that.
Well, that's part of the wonderful thing about the safety of the job. I can then explain to people, just as a mechanic, no, you're driving. I'm in shotgun. I will help. I will give you directions. I will say, you should turn left here. I will say, hey, we're coming up on getting close. You should probably slow down a bit. Things like that. I'm not taking over. I have my own car. I'm doing my own work too. It's not a good idea for me to try to drive everybody. That's not how this works at all. No. But if somebody asks me, hey, what can you do about this? I'm quick to be able to say, yeah, that sounds like your engine's running hot. Hey, that sounds like you're thinking about this a lot. Has this been troubling you for a long time? Oh, interesting. You've had that problem since you were 15. sounds like you've been ignoring it for a very long time. Maybe it's time to get that replaced.
Gotcha. No, that's good. No, that's definitely a good way of looking at it. And like I say, when I go to the shop, I don't know how to fix my car. So I go to the shop and I'm trusting that the person that's working on my car. So when I get in there, I start it back up and I drive out. I don't know if he replace the brakes or fix the brakes or put them on right until I try to stop. So when you're dealing with, and that's anything we do, you know that you went in for this, and you came out with stitches or staples or cut or whatever, and you're like, did they fix it? I really don't know. It's not until you have to try to use it. So when you're dealing with something that's, like you say, 15 years about holding it down or whatever, how do I know that this is working, or how would I know that it's working? Other than because it can't be. Hopefully, I'm asking you, it can't be a one and done, or is it? Or can it be? Go ahead. You're the expert.
It can be.
Okay.
There have been a lot of folks that I have had one session and that's all they really needed. Now, there are other folks where I also will schedule a tune-up. I'll have follow-up sessions. I'm happy to do that. But for people that have issues with like smoking or weight loss or some of these very common things that people already associate with hypnosis, that's often one and done. That's really simple. It's really straightforward. I sometimes have it even scripted where I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to read you this because this has worked for multiple people before. It's straightforward. It's not all that complicated. It's just an understanding of how to tune the gears right. If it's a question of how to figure out what the problem is, and then we get to the level of, oh, it's that. And I see that and I say, oh, I've fixed this problem 200 times already. Yeah, I know exactly what will help you fix that. That's not going to be hard. Then it turns into, 45 minutes or an hour and I wake them back up and we're done. But the actual process of the finding it first, that's the important part. A lot of people think that they know what the problem is and they come to me and they say, hey, I really want you to help me with my weight. And I'm then asking the questions and I find out and figure out, no, the issue isn't their weight. They don't need to have a certain number on the scale. They need to learn how to love themselves as they are. And then they will be able to shift weight much more easily because they don't have anything in their routine right now that is helping them. And they see themselves as ugly, undesirable, unlovable, all sorts of other nasty things that they have had put on them because of the weight. Once they shed those things, the weight will also be shed. It falls away easy. But first you got to get rid of those other things that are already hitching in their brain. That's like, no, it won't turn over. Well, why won't it turn over? Well, you sit here grinding the gears as long as you have been. Yeah, there's going to be teeth missing.
Wow.
I like the mechanic analogy.
I find it works really well for me.
Yeah, it does.
In
I like the
so many ways.
Analogy. Yeah,
like
and
for
I also
everything
like
I
the
do.
fact that a mechanic, you have to test drive the vehicle, right? So this golf game of mine, I'm having a few problems.
All right.
How are you with the sports end of it?
Well, there are aspects of it that people do use for sports. There's visualization training. There's the performance anxiety aspect. There's, people apparently, and I've seen the study cited multiple times. I don't know if it's really still true, but apparently it is a more commonly held fear to be afraid of public speaking than it is to be afraid of death.
Yes.
We're terrified of talking in front of people, which is crazy to think about because you're always going to be talking in front of people. It's just a question of how big is the audience,
Yeah. That's true. So I'm a big fan of the Socratic way of thinking, right? In some of Socrates' quotes, the unexamined life is not worth living and those sorts of things. So basically, I'm a firm believer that people, what you resist only persist. So what it seems like
That's
to
a good way to
me,
put it.
yeah, what it seems like to me is you are basically teaching people how to think, and not because if you just try to eliminate a thought from your mind, don't look at that pink elephant. That's what's going to happen, right? But if you kind of allow those things to come, my experience, my personal experience, because I've been working on with myself for a while. If I allow these things to come through and examine them, they'll pass. For example, I just went to a debate today, and there's one of the candidates who I don't know a lot about. But for some reason, she just doesn't strike me as being a good candidate for the office of mayor in my city. And I told my wife, I said, I got to find out more about her. And she says, I thought you said you didn't really care too much. I said, because I don't know this woman. So for me not to care this much about her, I got to find out what it is in me that triggers me or makes me think that way. So that's just the way my brain works. I always need context, and Jack, we make a big joke of that all the time. So it seems like you give people a way to get to that contextual piece so they can basically examine their lives. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
That is a lot of what NLP is. NLP is NeuroLinguistic Programming. So it is the linguistics of our mind, neuro, and how we are programmed. The way that our thoughts get inputted into us, that we then are able to process them and explain them in language to other people. What you just described a moment ago, don't look at that pink elephant. That's part of the rule of, quote unquote, the law of attraction. You will attract what you put out into the universe. You will find what you are looking for. Because if you are looking for something that is a negative, your subconscious mind cannot recognize the negative without also creating the image of the positive, whatever the thing is. Big Jack, don't think about a cat. Don't think about a cat. Think about anything else. Don't think about a cat. What's in your brain right now?
Of course it's a cat, because you keep saying,
of course it's a cat. Of course.
Don't hit the ball in the water. Don't hit the ball in the water. How many times we've been through that, right? Oh my God.
If you are thinking about the negative of that thing, whatever that thing is, you will move in the direction of the negative, even though that's not what you want, because your subconscious mind didn't hear don't, it heard do this. That's it. So if you want to get off of pink elephants, you need blue balloons. You need something that is positive. Move in this direction and you will get there. And that makes it easier. So to work on your golf game, start by visualization. Start with thinking about, I want the ball to go exactly here. And the more specific you can get with where you want that box to be for where it's going to land, the more you think about how you're going to move, how you're going to swing, where you're going to be standing, all of these other parts and pieces that start going together, the more successful the shot is likely to be, because you're thinking about it already. Because the whole body and brain is interconnected, and you can have the exact understanding of, I want the ball to go here. I want the ball to land here. I want the swing to look like this. I'm going to follow through to up here. All of these other parts and pieces that get tied in together. But if you're thinking, don't hit it in the water, don't hit it in the water, your brain is only hearing, hit it in the water.
Right.
That's it.
Hey, let me ask you this, Scott. Real quick, Jack. I'm sorry, because this has got me going, man. That's a very simple thing, but it's not easy to do. No. What is it about the way we are wired that does? Because that's basic. I mean, that's great information. We all know that. We've all been told that.
Our wiring that goes with that is the same as driving on an old stick shift versus driving on an automatic. It is the difference between survival instincts and society. Our old patterns, the survival instinct was, hey man, don't get eaten by a tiger. That's it. That's the most important thing. If you do that today, you are successful. That is a great day. You didn't get eaten. Good. Do that again. And so we were patterned at the beginning to notice the negatives and learn to avoid them. That was easy. That's the important thing. If you find fruit, that's great. It's nice to have it now and again, but like that wasn't as important as don't get eaten.
Right.
That was really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
So our brains developed that as the pattern for all of the pattern recognition to start with. And so deleting negative now, because we live in a society that is very different and is structured very differently, and we don't worry about don't get eaten nearly as much as we worry about, does the boss like me? Am I doing a good job? Am I successful? Am I making money? Am I going to have enough money? All of these other things that are not bad constructions necessarily and are not wrong in and of themselves, but are not as simple as don't die. That's it. When that's the goalpost, it was very easy to cross that because you're starting at the 1 yard line every single day. It's just, yes, I survived. Great. We're doing great. But now we're moving the goalposts and we've got to go a full 100 yards every day to make it feel like we are keeping up if we are still succeeding. And when we're doing that, we have to be able to do it without carrying the weight of the training dummy saying, hey, man, just survive. That's it. If you survive, you're good. So we got to shed some of the negatives and get rid of those things that we're supposed to not focus on if we want to actually be able to run the course, because it's going to be a lot easier when you know what you are supposed to be focusing on. The other analogy that I use for it is talking about railroads, because if we lay rail track from Atlanta, Georgia to New York, that train can run New York to Atlanta all day, every day, again and again and again. That's great. But you have to have laid track that direction first. So if your subconscious mind doesn't have a clear picture, doesn't have a goal, doesn't have the dream, you don't know where you're going, you're just trying to lay track at all, then you're going to move. You're going to have a sense of movement. You're going to have momentum. You're going to be going, doing, finding, being, whatever it is. But if you wanted to get to New York and you weren't going north, you're going to have a hard time getting to New York from Atlanta. You're going to end up in San Francisco and you're going to be looking at the bay saying, wait, what? How did I get here? That's not right. Come on, man. And while you're sitting there kicking yourself and feeling bad about it, you just have to sit and deal with the understanding, oh, I didn't think about where I was trying to go. I just felt like I needed to be moving.
Go somewhere. And people,
that's not the same thing.
Which answers the thing.
Same destination.
So when people say, I just want to be happy, you have to say, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Exactly.
I want to be successful. What does that look like?
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I want to be happy. Like? Exactly. I love that for you.
Scott, let me say this, man. I really enjoy talking to you because these are the things I ask on a regular basis, and I've been almost kicked off the show a few times asking these questions. So, man, I appreciate you. Clear that up for me. Hey, man, all this time they had me thinking I was just out of my mind and crazy and difficult and being contrarian just for the sake of being contrarian, man.
That's great. Well, that's great.
Man, all right.
Scott, we got to ask you. I got to ask you this now. You can talk to me, but now I leave your office and I go talk to Walt and he puts that negative thought back in my mind or whatever. So how hard is it to fight? Not that you just happen to be on the stage, man. Come on.
Why me, man?
It could be anybody, but you know how that go, because I talk to you and I'm walking out and I got that positive mindset. And I know I'm big, but I'm thinking small and all of this. And I get out there and Walt say, "What's up, Fat Jack?" And I'm like, "Dang,
man, come on, Big Jack."
I know, but
like, hey, man,
on that, he would never call me that. But with that being said, how hard is it for you in your profession, even dealing with me as a patient? I guess I've been calling myself a patient. How hard would that be when I have to go back home? I have to go back around my peers and all of that. How hard is it for you? How hard is that combination or that thought? What do you have to do for that person?
So that becomes a couple of things because there's multiple layers that are all kind of tied together on that. The important piece is the layers of the mind. Like builds from a base, and that lowest, deepest layer, the very biggest, broadest base, is identity. What we identify as, what we take on as our identity, that is so fundamental to us that we build everything else on top of it. If our fundamental identity is being attacked or challenged, then we get really defensive. We close off real fast. We get real upset real fast. When you talk to somebody who is a sports guy and they are all about it and it is their life, and you say, man, the Yankees suck. If they are a Yankees fan, they will act like it is fighting words. They will leap at you. But that same level is also what gives us that kind of protective instinct for ourselves. So if somebody says, well, that doesn't matter to me because that's not true about me anymore, then all of a sudden, nobody saying anything to the contrary really sticks the same way, because you've got the defenses up, you've raised the shields, you've walled it off, and you say, no, man, I'm not listening to anybody or anything else above and beyond myself when it comes to what I am. That level of self-empowerment, that level of, no, I choose my identity and my destiny, that gives people a different kind of strength, because a lot of people aren't working with that kind of tool. They have had labels put on them, but they don't own a label maker. They don't have a way to write their own labels and say, no, I'm not a smoker. No, I'm not fat. No, I'm not any of those things that I don't want to be, because I am what I want to be. I'm moving in the direction of, I'm going to be successful. I am having all of the things that I want. I'm getting what I put out into the world because I'm making progress every single day. When somebody has that kind of momentum and that kind of self-identification, then they start piling up. And one of the layers above identity is when we start getting to, the results, and we have the proof. And then that gives us an extra protection that says, you can say whatever you want, man. I don't care. I've got my money in the bank. You can say I'm not successful. I've got what I came for. You can say I can't have it. I already bought it. Whatever, man. I'm not listening to that.
Right. No, that's good. Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead.
No, so what I'm hearing you say is basically, and I guess it's even tougher in today's time than it was in our time, because social media, comparison is stealing lives stealing parts of everyone's life.
Oh, comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Believe that. I will stand by it, man, anytime 100%. And every time.
So, two things. One, a person who we're all culturally conditioned to a point, right? Because
absolutely. Oh, I've lost the rest of the question.
You lost it. That's it. You paused.
Me?
Halfway through, Paul. Yeah.
It takes a special type of self-awareness to challenge your thinking to the point that you ask yourself, why do you believe what you believe? And like, to me, when I tell someone something, I want to be challenged, because one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to come up with a better idea, or now I have you as my advocate, because you get to tell everybody, man, he's crazy as all get out. I already told him that, but his idea is solid. It's been tested, right? So other than that, you just basically have a false sense of security, so to speak. And then you have to be self-aware enough. To me, my thinking is, and help me out here, to it's like, if at some point it all falls apart if it's not actual and factual and true, right? So how do you distinguish? Well, let me ask you, and add this too. How do you distinguish between the person who just needs to change their thinking and the person who is really having mental challenges where they can't help that, which I know is a whole nother piece of your profession, I guess.
So that's a double-edged sword. There are two answers that are competing in my mind. In one of them, there's the NLP-based answer, which is to say, you are at cause. So NLP has 14 principles, and one of them, among the others, is to say, you are always 100% at cause. If you choose something, that is part of your choices, and you have to own that in order to make progress, in order to make changes, in order to say, I have the power to make something better. Because if you don't feel like you have that power, if you don't feel like you do have 100% being at cause, then you will absolutely always find something else to blame. If the problem is external, if the problem is out there, if the problem is the government stepped in, or the school shut down, or man, I can't get the line on the factory job anymore, whatever it is, if the problem is out there will always have more problems. You can keep finding them, and there will continue to be excuses. If the problem is in here or in here, then all of a sudden it's something that is within your reach. And this is part of what I wrote in my little chapter of the book, the sphere of influence and the sphere of concern. The sphere of concern is huge, especially today, especially now. Anything and everything that you hear about in the whole wide world can be in your sphere of concern.
Right.
I could hear about trouble in Ukraine. I can hear about trouble in Argentina. I can hear about whatever's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. But do I have the influence to do anything about that? No, that is well outside of my sphere of influence. What I can control, what I can directly impact, what I can actually do something about, that is my sphere of influence. So if I am not in my sphere of influence, I got a real problem. Because I'm not in control of me? Oh, no. That's no good. You can't live in only your sphere of concern. So you have to make sure to pull yourself into your sphere of influence and say, no, I'm in control of me. I make my choices. I get my consequences, but I make my call. And whatever call I make, I get to make it. And that can be starting today. That can be starting right now. That can be that has always been the case, and I just wasn't paying attention and I made bad choices. That's fine. But you have to be able to own it, because then you have the power to change it. But the other side of that double-edged sword, the societal answer that comes along with being in the book, that comes along with the challenges that people have written about, that comes along with seeing people and talking to people and very different real lived experience, is to also remember that there is a deep and profound need for self-compassion, grace, love, acceptance, because even if whatever it is was outside of your control, even if whatever it is was bigger than what you could take on, then what you also have to do is not take all of it on. You have to forgive yourself and say, hey man, that was not on me. I didn't have the power to do everything about that. I didn't choose to be born, but I'm here, so I better start making the best of it. I didn't choose to go to school where I went to school when I was in elementary school. I was a kid. I didn't get to pick, am I going to go to school in Washington State? Am I going to go to school down in Florida? No, I lived with my parents. I went to school in Tennessee. This is where I was. So at a certain point, you have to let everything else go and decide, this is where I am. I love to have people picture a tree, and the past is in the roots. Everything that has led you to this point, everything, every choice, your parents' choices, your grandparents' choices, everything before led you to here. But now you're in the trunk. The trunk is present. The trunk is right now. And that's it. That is here today where you are. And the branches and the leaves go in all different directions, because the future is possibility. And there's bunches of it. Whatever else happens out there, the trunk is going to keep growing and the present is going to keep being present. And there's only going to be the one thing, and that is the decision. Do you grow or do you die? Because if you want to keep going, you have to keep growing. And that has to be growing in a healthy, balanced, focused way, not in the cancer way, where it's just, no, we just grow. We just grow everywhere. No. Intentional, focused in your sphere, but growing. Because if you don't, the tree gets cut down and there is no more future. There's just everything that led you to here.
So that's basically Stoicism 101, right? I mean, we're more concerned about, it's more about what we think of an event than the actual event sometimes, right? But then, help me out with this. It seems like just as humans, was the dichotomy of choice. I mean, the more choices you have, the harder it is to make a decision. You know, if you have this or that, that seems pretty easy, but you have all of these things coming at you now. And I'm talking about especially for like young adults trying to figure it out, you know, because we kind of, you know, we got a firm grasp, we're on our way. But man, I can't even imagine being, you know, 12, 13 with the internet, Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, I shouldn't have had
trying to figure it all out, man. I mean, that's a crazy thing. And then, like you said, the choice thing hits me because you always have a choice. Sometimes not making a decision, that's your decision. But we get hung up as humans, we get hung up in not liking our choices. So we think we don't have the right. You can make a decision, and people who like have been prisoners of war or in prison, you know, they basically, hey man, you know, I'm probably more free than most people out there because they're on the program. They know who they are, and they know what decisions they can and cannot make. And again, it seems pretty simple. It is, but it's not easy. It's not easy. So you help people get to that point, and that's pretty cool to me, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So Scott, I'm gonna ask you a question. How did all this start? So this mindset, did you go to school for it? Was you know, I'm sitting one day in my room and I say, you know what, I want to. How did it all come to be?
A little of yes, a little of no. I did go to school. I went to school for theater. That was third school, different times. This started when I was a freshman in college. I was in an ROTC program. It was a very different time in my life, as you can see. But I thought for a while that I was going military. And one of the events one evening was mandatory fun. You will go, you will smile, you will do what you are told. Yes, sir, I will, or else I will be here doing push-ups. I think I'll go. We'll see. It could be fun. Even if it's not fun, it's more fun than push-ups. So I went. I get to the gym, and there is a stage hypnotist doing a show. He brings out his volunteers. He's got a bunch of people that came up. One guy in particular stands in my memory the most because he must have been like 350 pounds. I mean, he was a great big guy. And nothing wrong with that. But when he went under, he fell out of his chair. And he fell down with enough of a thud that I was like, oh, that's not a paid actor. No. Actors pratfall. Actors catch themselves. He just thud. I mean, he went limp like a puppet with the strings cut. It was crazy. 20 minutes later, that same guy is brought up thinking, and this was what the guy said, you're the OBGYN on call. The woman next to you is giving birth, and you've got to help deliver the baby. Ready, go. And he lights up. Nurse! He's screaming. He's running for the wall, the first aid kit, the AED. He's freaking out. The guy puts him back under as he's coming back to the stage with the first aid kit from the gym wall. I'm like, oh my God. He really thought for a minute there that he had credentials and was the doctor on call. Crazy. Full crazy. Wild to see. We get to the end of the show, and he tells everybody, go back to sleep. Now, I don't want anybody following me. I don't want anybody angry with me. I don't want anybody getting upset. Y'all won't remember any of this embarrassing nonsense you did until after you get out the front doors. When you hit fresh air, you will remember all of it. It was a great show. You had fun. It was a great time. But you won't remember until you get to the front doors. Because I'm parked in back and I'm leaving. And he wakes him up and he takes his bows and he leaves. This guy's friends meet him at half court. They're all really excited. That was so great. That was so funny. That was so stupid. That was hilarious. Do you remember anything? What? What happened? When does the show start? Where did the guy go? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything. What's going on? He's just 100-yard stare. He's gone. He's full gone. The lights are on and nobody is home.
Wow.
They get him to the front door and it's a threshold moment. He's in the gym. What are you talking about? What happened? When does the show start? Where did the guy go? Nothing happened. I didn't do anything, man. Stop it. He hits the door. His first words are, "Oh, shit. It worked. What the fuck?" And I go back to my dorm room that night with 3 things in mind. Number 1, it's real. So number 2, it can be learned, which means number 3, I have to go learn this right now. I have to figure out, how did he do that? What did he do? How does this work? Why does this work? All that I can find. And I go home and I start researching. I look online. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm chatting with people. I'm reading subreddits and other things all over the internet. I do not recommend this as the way to get into it for people, but this was what I was doing because I was 19 and had no other idea of what to do to look into it. So many years pass and I go to different schools for different programs from that. And I get into a theater degree. At the end of a semester in a theater degree, you don't really have the same kind of tests or exams that everybody else is stressing out and studying for because you did the show. The show is the exam. If the show went off, you're done. I still did the tests. We still had finals, but like our finals were really easy comparatively because we did the show. When you did the show, that's the test. I mean, it happened 4 weeks before that. So all of my friends are stressed out and up to their necks in studying and thinking about staying up all night instead of getting real rest and not sleeping right. And I'm just like, I gotta help you guys out with this somehow. Okay, who needs something for a headache? And I just talk to them. I just start talking and I have that nice calm voice and it's real easy to start to slip down and go slow, nice and soft and real gentle and just let them doze out for 20 minutes at a time. And I think they're just taking a nap, but they wake up and they tell me, "No, I feel so much better. I'm great. That was excellent. Thank you." So I get to the end of that and eventually I'm like, well, that was worth something. I'll keep doing it. So now here I am, 31 years old. I've been in China as a teacher and in Spain as an English language assistant. And I come back to the US and I'm trying to figure out what is it that I can do that I don't have to live out of a suitcase. And I come back to the idea of, well, there was that one time. There was that old routine that I used to do with folks during classes. Yeah, okay. Let's figure out what that takes. And then I go find out what it takes to do that professionally. I learn what the certification process is and looks like and take some courses and all this other stuff. But I had already been practicing for 12 years and didn't realize just how valuable that experience was. I was like, oh, yeah, no, I know how to do all of that. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I can figure out how to make that work. That's great. And less than 6 weeks later, I had my first client who I was helping with smoking because she wanted to be clean and sober. But by the time we were halfway through our session, we took a break. I woke her up and I said, "How do you feel?" She was like, "I'm great." I was like, "That over there is a vape pen, right?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm getting rid of that." And I watched her as she went room by room in her house, gathered up all of her THC and vape pens and junk that she was like, no, I don't need this anymore. And she went out to the garage and threw it away in the big trash can. Not even just in her kitchen trash or just in the house. She went fully, no, it's going in the one that goes to the street. And she was done. I was like, all right, well, we've still got half an hour. What else do you want to do?
You paid for it.
Wow. So lucky for the world, you only use your powers for good.
The wonderful thing about it is that people think that there is a way to do it for evil because Hollywood has taught them that. That's not true. That part falls firmly under the whole Rome wasn't built in a day thing.
Okay.
If you wanted to make a nun into an assassin in an hour and a half and told them to kill the Pope, you better be in Hollywood, because everywhere else that doesn't work. That's not how it works. The limitations on hypnosis are three things predominantly. This is what I tell people, at least. Number one, the morals and ethics of both people. I'm not going to do something that I think is unethical. I'm not going to let them do something. I don't suggest something to them that I don't think that they would like to do. And they won't do something that is flat out not what they would believe in or ever do or accept or appreciate. That's just not going to happen. They will wake themselves back up before that would ever happen. Like your own subconscious will kick it back into gear and say, no, hold on. Whoa, freeze, safety. We're not doing that.
Wait a minute.
Hold on now. What if it's a psychopath though? Then there it is.
I can't speak to that because I'm not a doctor. I don't do the diagnostics on people like that. Okay. What I can say is I won't do any of that, and I don't think that they would do any of that, and I'm not going to try to test it anyway because it's a lot safer and easier to just not worry about that.
There you go.
The second limit is the imagination. The person won't do something they can't imagine doing. If you told me that I could fly, I could flap my arms and jump off the roof and I would just take off into the sky. There's no world in which I would still believe that and not just wake up. I would look at you, say you're crazy, and move on. I would be like, no, I'm not doing that. I know better. Gravity still works. The rest of the world still works. Your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, it's like number one thing is still, hey, don't die. Whatever happens, don't die. So it will kick back in and say, that's not safe. We're not doing that. And then the third limitation is just like language. We would have to be able to have the idea, and the idea would have to be in a way that would be acceptable. It would have to be something that the person could reasonably believe, yeah, no, we can achieve that. If I say, go out and win $1 million, your brain might take it. It might even like it, but it's not going to have an idea of like, okay, how do we do that? It's going to be like, oh, we can go buy scratchers. It's like, no, that's not actually likely to win, though. That's the problem. So it has to be processed to an extent and in a way that the language actually sticks and it picks up.
Okay. Nah, good. That's good stuff. So you mentioned a book. You mentioned the book. So tell us about the book. Ray even said your title said you're a best-selling author. So tell us a little bit about your book.
The book is called Unbreakable Spirit: How to Thrive No Matter What Life Throws at You. I collaborated with a group of about, I think, 20 authors or so, and we each wrote a chapter, which made it very easy. I only contributed like 10 pages. It doesn't feel like it was a lot. It feels like a stretch for me to still be saying best-selling author, but it is a best-selling book, and I wrote part of it. So I get to claim that, and I get to keep that title, and I'm going to keep writing my own stuff too and build from there. But the book is fundamentally about the different perspectives and stories and dealing with life that other people have had. There's a story from a guy named Mike who his wife had faced some form of sexual assault or like deep trauma growing up. And when they got married, she realized that there was some trouble there. And the lingering trauma of that was stuff that they had to work on for another 7 years together. But they are also still married, and it's been more than 30. So it's that story, which is so, so powerful. It's the story of a woman, I believe her name is Rumi, if I recall. I may be remembering that wrong, though. But she is originally Indian, and she wanted to get into traditional dance, and she wanted to get into this self-expression that her society and her husband specifically very, very, very much did not approve of for her at her time and at her age and all this other stuff. And it's the story of how she got through that and continued and endured and is now still able to be dancing, which is so, so powerful. I wrote my chapter more as one of the little listicle kind of things because I didn't know how much to share of myself, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be helpful to the person reading it as much as I could. So I wrote a brief little list of 7 things to help with balance. I personally believe that balance is the number one thing that the world needs more of, and that helps us with our problems the most. That whole law of attraction piece of knowing what you don't want is fine, but knowing what you do want is better, goes along with this understanding of if there's a time for everything and everything should have its time, then it's not good to not feel feelings. Maybe that means anger. Maybe that means sadness. Maybe that means happiness. Maybe you should have joy. That's good. But you should also have a healthy outlet for all of those other things. If you excessively focus on, I can't be angry, I can't be angry, I can't let them know that I get angry, then it's like, hey man, rage room. Rage room exists. It's a great thing to go do. Have fun with it. Break some stuff. That's fine. Just don't break yourself or somebody else, because that's not. Have healthy outlets. Have creative outlets. The very first one, as I recall my list, was, hey, do something, make something, do a thing with your hands. I don't care if it's paint. I don't care if it's watercolor. I don't care if it's crocheting, knitting, whatever. Make something, because it's so much easier to fight the existential dread of the looming shadow of inevitability or mortality or anything else when you can also sit there and hold a pair of mittens and say, I made this. Like, just something. You can't soak in all the time. Human beings are not sponges. We're more complicated than that. If you only get things coming in and you never let anything out, that isn't healthy. You'll build up some kind of tension that's just like, I need to make something. I need to do something. I need to break something. Get a hobby. Get a way to break something out and let it go. It's better for you. So I wrote my little chapter on balance and the importance of finding balance. I have already talked about the spheres as well. That was one of mine in the list. There's a few others still, but go read the book. It's very good.
So for those who are watching the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, we got Scott Russ with us, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. We did put the book, the title in the chat, so you can actually click on the link. I'm going to pop it back up on the stage again for those who are seeing it. And Scott, where will we be able to find the book? Can I go on Amazon or wherever? Where is it? Everywhere? Where's this book at?
It is on Amazon. I believe that it's everywhere. The very best place to go is actually still theusbook.com, because part of what made it a bestseller, spoiler, little secret from the insider in the industry, every one of those authors, we made a little gift to go with it, to be an extra thing, to be like, here, oh, you bought the book? Thank you so much. Here, take this. Free. So we all contributed our little freebie. I made mine a pre-recorded hypnosis audio session that is focused on goals, that is focused on not that don't get what you don't want, but that get what you do want part of just like, okay, build it, build yourself up. What do you want it to be? Go that way.
Okay. Hey,
Wow.
so you heard it, and that's busbook.com, and I did put it down in the chat. So for those who want to get Scott, well, the book that Scott is an author on, he's one of the many authors. That's how you can get the book, and that's awesome. And again, thank you, Scott. I know it's hard to say, hard to believe we're real close at the end. It's been almost an hour. I mean, but
Wow.
I'm intrigued with everything that's been going on. But I'm gonna ask you one more question if we can. So if someone was watching tonight and they feel stuck or stressed, like say self-doubt, negative, and they're stuck in that loop, what's one immediate mental shift or exercise that they can do today to start rewriting their story? So if Scott, I'm gonna turn it over to you and give us a way to rewrite this story.
So the number one thing, going back to don't die, is to remember to breathe. So I would recommend the first step is to learn box breathing, which is incredibly useful. It's a great tool for grounding, for dealing with fear, anxiety, stress, whatever. 4 counts of breathe in, 4 counts of hold, 4 counts of exhale, 4 counts of hold out. Box breathing is the first place to start, because no matter what else is going on, if you are sitting there counting and breathing, then there's going to be very little else that continues to distract. The brain starts to slow down, the body starts to slow down, everything gets a little easier. Then the second part of that goes along with it and is more of the mental. It is to take a pause, take a beat, take a break, take a breath, take a moment, and to zoom out. Now, I want to be careful here because there are people that fully dissociate and then they're just gone from themselves for a long time. That's not what I mean. I mean, think of it as in video game terms, where you're able to be in first person and you're able to be in third person, and you're just right over your own shoulder. If you're able to switch that perspective, sometimes you need to be in it. Sometimes you need to be in yourself. Sometimes you need to be real grounded and stay in your body. And sometimes you need to be able to put a little distance between you doing the thing and your mind thinking about, what are we doing? Are we doing what we actually want to be doing? Are we not happy with what we're doing and we're doing it anyway? If it has been 3 hours on TikTok or 2.5 hours of scrolling Facebook and you don't feel like you've gotten anything done, it's time to check in on that and be like, okay, hold on, wait, what are we doing? Do we like what we're doing? Are we happy with what we're doing? Do we need to go take a walk? Do we need to get some sun? Do we need to take some time and sit down and do nothing? Whatever it is, do that mental check-in of being able to be in it and being able to be out of it. Because the importance of perspective is so useful, because that's the only way to really be able to check for your body, for your brain, for everything together, to be able to say, oh, I'm here, I'm fully present, I'm really liking what I'm doing. This has been a great show. I've been loving it, and I've been here the whole time. If I was to go out of myself and say, wait, did I say everything I needed to say? Did I talk to the right people? Did I say the right things to everybody? That's too self-critical. I need to be here. I need to be in it. But as soon as we're done with this show, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to zoom out and say, okay, what time is it? What does my body need? What does my mind need? Am I ready to rest? Am I ready to start doing something? Do I need to go do something? Or are we checking in? Are we chill? Are we good? So having those check-ins is really, really useful. And the number one way to get to that space of being able to separate a little bit, I say, is box breathing. So 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold. Because if you slow down intentionally, then you will be able to pick the right direction when you know where you're going. It makes it so much easier to get there.
All right. Wow. Okay. I appreciate it. No problem. Hey, Walt, you got anything before we roll?
Hey man, that box breathing is good. Hey Jack, even on the golf course. But you're 100% right, man. I mean, if you just kind of slow down, you know, in my other life, Scott, I was a firefighter, and you know, I spent time at the training school too. So you put a rookie, put a mask on his face, put him in a heated environment, smoke-filled environment, and his or her initial instinct, the untrained person's initial instinct, is to panic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just want to just pull your mask off, run out the room, do all kind of crazy things. And I mean, of course, you stand up, you get burned. You pull your mask off, your airway gets burned. So basically, you have to. I was taught early, just control your breathing. And it's amazing what comes to your mind, the options that come to you when you just control your breathing, man. Even a person who hyperventilates, you know, the whole purpose of breathe into the bag, yada, 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 it's the same concept. It's all to slow your breathing down to allow, because your body will use that somewhere else. And then you just need to get it back up to your brain so you can think. And it's just the body is an incredible thing. So again, man, you have great information, and that's something that everybody can do. You know, I mean,
I
that's
certainly
something
hope everybody can. If you are having trouble, you don't need to be listening to anything I'm saying. You need to fix that. That's the most important thing. Remember that don't die piece? Breathe.
That's it.
Breathe.
But the
Always breathe.
beautiful part about it is everything you said, man, is stuff that we've heard, stuff that we sometimes may know, but we get away from. And I got to tell you, man, you just kind of put it right there where, you know, where folks can get it, man. So great information. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. You answered a lot of my questions, man, and basically just kind of reinforce some stuff I already thought and already knew. And I appreciate you, man. So good luck with that. And I'll check your book out. So congratulations.
Thank you. Well, it's been lovely being on.
All right.
Big Jack, back to the host.
Oh, thank you. So I would just want to thank everybody that's been tuning in today and watching, and the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I got Scott Rust on, and you know, if you haven't already hit that like button, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're not subscribers, hit the subscribe button. And definitely tune in for more and more Iron Sharpening Iron shows and all the shows that come in through the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. Scott, we're going to ask you to hang back with us a little bit once we close out. Talk to you backstage. But to everybody else, we'll have a blessed rest of your week and start of your next week. And tune in because we got some wonderful shows this month and all over the place. I mean, almost every other day now we have a show, so which is really good. The universe is growing. But until next time, we're going to ask you all to stay sharp. We'll talk to you later, and peace. All right. There you go. Thank you.